Welcome to the Choosing Happiness podcast with me, your host, Rudrani Devi, the Happiness Lady. In these conversations, we will be discussing an uncommon way to find joy in your life with weekly special guests. Did you know you could choose your happy? Won't you come and play and discover how these magical tools could work for you? Let's do this! Well, howdy, y'all. Rudrani Devi, the Happiness Lady, coming from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where I just finished CF training with this lovely being. Yes, not Jolene, but Junaline Bañez-Moussi.
Hi.
Also renewing her certified facilitation for access consciousness. We just finished this phenomenal class, but she's not in Puerto Vallarta. Where are you, my love? Where you be in the world?
In the moment, Canada, where I'm from, actually, where I grew up. Yes.
Okay.
But
And where do you usually play?
I live in Lebanon, in the Middle East.
All right. Well, you guys, I'm so thrilled. And by the way, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast. I am thrilled beyond the beyonds.
Thank you.
I mean, I have seen you on several of the podcasts and all the things, and I don't know how I didn't get you here sooner. But what was such a delight is I just asked and she said yes. I was like, I've just won the jackpot. So, and congratulations to us for renewing our certified facilitators.
Exactly. Congratulations, girl. We are on it again and again and again and beyond.
Absolutely. How long have you been a CF, by the way?
8 years. This is my 8th year as a certified facilitator. And I remember when I went for my first CF training in Venice. I was the first CF in the Middle East at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I did not know.
Showboating.
Yes, and this is actually Gary and Dane acknowledged me for that because it was like the first time they heard somebody coming from Lebanon, although I'm a Canadian person living there, that there is somebody from Lebanon who's becoming a CF. And they never even had any, at that time, I guess it wasn't their awareness, but there was nothing in the Middle East yet at that time when I became a CF. So I started in Lebanon, and then actually it grew during COVID all over the Middle East. If you notice, I don't know. Now it's in Saudi, it's in the Gulf, but at that time when I chose to become a CF, I was looking for someone in the Middle East to help me or to support me, co-create with me, but no one. So yeah, how does it get any better than that?
Did you know that Choosing Happiness actually speaks Arabic?
Does it?
It does. I think.
Wow. Marhaba.
And what did you say?
Marhaba means hello in Arabic.
Oh, I love it. So this little happy little yellow book, it's so funny because Gary kept teasing us, you guys, that none of us were using the 10 keys to total freedom, which are like the basic like Access 101 tools, like the beginner tools. And that's what's in this book, because I created this book for those people that, you hear Gary and Dane saying this all the time. Quit trying to explain what access consciousness is. You sound like idiots. Because, who can actually explain what it is? And so I thought, I'm going to create a book that is so rudimentary, like the beginning level, if somebody had never heard of access before, and explain these 10 tools, the things I did where I wasn't using the tools, where I could use the tools. It's actually kind of a funny little book. And I dedicated it to Gary and Dane. And it's basically a book that if your family thinks you've just joined a cult, or...
Oh, you have. I have. I have acknowledged that.
Yeah, well, the thing is if ever two or more are gathered, you've just created a church. You know what I'm saying? So that's it's the Bible of access. No, it's actually a way for people that don't know how to explain what they're doing to go, here, Mom, if you read this, you'll know more about what it is I'm doing. Now, for those of you
that to my mother then.
Oh, there you go. Well, you have it in Arabic.
I'm staying with her in Canada, so
you can get it in Arabic, so she can even have it in her,
Well, we are Filipinos originally.
Oh, okay. It also speaks Spanish.
It's confusing you even more. I'm Canadian, living in Lebanon, but Filipino origin.
It's so funny because I am an American.
Yes.
I'm actually an Italian living in America with an Indian name.
There you
Right?
The opposite of what it appears to be. Devi. I love it. Rudrana Devi.
That's it. That's me. So that's why I created this book. It does speak Spanish also. Of course,
Hola! Does it
it's
speak Italian?
not yet. It's so funny. I joke that the Italians don't like reading. I did have somebody come to me to do it in Italian, but they weren't willing to do the deal and deliver I had. So I went, I guess it's not. It's not now.
Let's make it an audible then. If it's not readable, then it's audible. What
Oh,
would
you
you say?
mean an Italian Audible?
Yeah.
Well, I could go back to her and see if she wants to read it, but I don't know if she's going to do the deal and to deliver for it
Well, what else
either.
is possible?
Yeah, actually, costs more to make it an Audible than it does to make it a book.
And what else is possible?
What else is possible? At least this reality. That's how they delivered it to me. But
Yeah.
you can change anything.
True.
Absolutely change anything. And that's why I have you on the show, because here's the thing. We're both right voice for you facilitators. And what
See?
I've noticed, not that that's my point of view necessarily, I've noticed that um, that's one that intimidates people. That class, it's almost like they say, well, you got a big cojones to do that class, and I don't know. For me, I don't have that gene or whatever it is that makes me nervous to get in front of people, to talk to people, to sing to people. I mean, you don't have to ask me to sing once.
Mm.
I will just be out with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Junaline, 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 Junaline.
Wow,
It's like
yeah, please.
it doesn't nothing there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, and here I'll add this one bit, and then I want to turn the floor over to you. I became a CF because it was the only way that I was going to be able to facilitate Right Voice View classes. I mean, I begged the Gary. I was like, I just want to do Right Voice. I don't want to be a CF. I don't want to teach friend. I don't need to do anything else. I just want to teach bars and Right Voice View. And he's like, you're joining. We can't do that. If I do it for you, I'll have to do it for everybody. We can't do that. I'm sorry. And now I get it. Now that I'm a CF and I love being a CF, I get why.
Yeah.
You have to go jump through all the hoops. Makes a lot more sense. So what drove you to want to become a Right Voice for You facilitator? I'm just curious.
Well, it's a very interesting question because actually it was Right Voice for You that invited me to become a CF.
Right, that's the same. So
Yeah.
you went to a Right Voice for You class.
Oh, even yeah, so when I first discovered Access Bars, I'm a life coach actually, and I used to do many other modalities that contributed me to discovering Access Bars and Access Consciousness. And so when I became a Bars facilitator in 2015, I started, diving deep into what else is Access Consciousness, what else does Access Consciousness offer, and one of the classes that other than well, there are two classes that really inspired me to become more of doing more of being a CF. Was actually first was talk to the entities, which I was up until this year. I'll talk to the entities facilitator, and then the second one is Right Voice for You. It was a different lady who was heading it at that time. It was a different person who was leading it at that time, and I love the way she she embodied the Right Voice for You, and she was such an inspiration. I was very inspired by her and by the tools, and so I was attending all Right Voice for You classes without actually choosing to be a facilitator just
Oh,
yet.
interesting. Did she have the initials B by any
Yes.
chance? Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. She's no
Yeah.
longer with Access, so we're
Yeah.
the kindness we're not going to divulge, but she's the one that insisted I should consider facilitating the
So
class.
so I'm really grateful for that invitation of her, that got me into, wow, like even the word Right Voice for You, I did not know what exactly it's about exactly, but it was the word voice or the energy of the word voice or what voice was. So I used to be, I wouldn't say shy, but I was very insecure, like I wouldn't show up in public unless I look perfect or
I can't imagine,
yeah,
by the way, y'all.
I had a lot of insecurities showing up and even asking for what I want, expressing myself. There was a time where she actually gave like a challenge, a 30-day video challenge sometime. And I joined the 30-day video challenge. And she said, just be yourself. And it was one of the first invitations for me to really let go of my barriers, that and like be okay to be not perfect and to be judged and like even talking blah blah blah, because a lot of the things that I discovered that stopped me from doing or being or showing up is the need to be perfect, the need to do it right.
Right.
Whatever right was, right? Whatever we've decided was right. And I used to be a teacher too. And I used to be a teacher of English in Japan, and I lived in many countries before. I had a career. I had a 15-year career
You've
as an
done it
English.
all, lady.
I was I actually I'm a citizen of the world, like Filipino by birth, Canadian by citizenship, but then I've been living abroad. I lived in Japan for 10 years, and actually I was teaching children, high school students there, English, and part of what I was doing was also coaching them for
Right.
speech contests. So not only with their English, pronunciation and grammar, but actually how to present themselves. So I was really good in coaching people. But when it came to me,
Aha! It's good for all of you, but
me,
not for me. Yeah.
yes, I was good in coaching others, but when it came to me, when I decided to transition to a different career, when it came to me, I didn't feel very confident about being a coach, being an energy worker, being whatever modality I was doing, and even being a facilitator of access at that time.
Right.
And so, the right voice for you tools like really invited me and to start showing up, literally showing up, figuratively showing up.
Oh my gosh. It's the biggest joke, y'all. Literally used to mean like literally, right? And now if you go to the dictionary, it doesn't mean literally anymore. It means figuratively.
Oh my God, how does it get any better? What else is
Words.
possible? Yeah, so it doesn't mean anything anymore, actually. We're functioning on energy nowadays, Rijani. The words do not.
True story, girl. And
Yeah,
yet we're talking about the right voice, and people assume that
that's right.
voice means words or
Yep.
song.
Yeah.
And it is a presence. It's this energy of who you be.
Yeah.
That screams louder than I mean, right voice for you can just simply be a look or an acknowledgement of
Mhm.
someone. Or, I've noticed it's changed so much since I became a facilitator of right voice, what my interpretation of it was anyway, or my points of view.
Sure.
For me, it's like that's what brought me in to become a CF. For you, you went to the class and that made you, as a CF, I guess, made you want to become a CF in right voice. For me, I remember just watching people melt when they were willing to be that vulnerability, when they were willing to be the valuable product,
True.
step into all of them unapologetically. I mean, Gary says when you're willing to be vulnerable, it's irresistible. It's
Yep.
absolutely irresistible. And you don't even have to say a word to be that vulnerability, to be that space when it's authentic. And I'm putting that in quotes,
Yeah.
you know.
You know,
So,
we've misapplied and misidentified authenticity as whatever, vulnerability as authenticity, and vice versa. And
mhm,
so, yeah, and you're right. The invitation for me and what you've seen in people was maybe you saw my energy that yes, I wanted to become more of me, whatever that more of me meant,
mhm.
to be really real and no holds barred, no, like it's like no, not having to what do you call this, prepare, whatever that is, you prepare for life. What
But
the hell are you preparing for? Don't
Junaline, isn't
it.
that what the world tells us to do? We got to go to school, we got to prepare, and we have to be ready
You're
for our
a teacher.
speeches.
Yes, prepare for everything. And I don't know, it just
But
actually
as a teacher, you didn't teach people to prepare.
I prepared a lot. I prepared the curriculum, okay?
Okay.
I prepared the lesson plans.
That's okay. That's okay. That's an outline, y'all. That's just an outline. It's like when you're writing a book, you might have an outline, or
Exactly.
or a table of contents, and then
Yeah.
then you just flow with it.
Yeah, I'm talking about the preparation that comes with a judgment that we
Right.
need to that needs to be, you have to do things right, or you have to say something right, or you have to
Mhm.
just whatever the righteousness or of it all.
Yeah.
And the right voice for you actually invited me to be, like you said, not just being vulnerable, but there is something about being you, being you, that is the right voice for
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
And it doesn't require speaking, it doesn't require a voice, literal and figurative voice, but just you. Actually, what I discovered is the non-judgment of you is the right voice of you. It shows up as the right,
Unjudgmental voice, y'all. Did you hear that?
yeah, non-judgment of you.
Right. Right. Because who do we judge the most, y'all? Ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm guilty.
Yeah.
I'm still getting over that one. You know, one day I'll grow up or not.
Yeah, I mean, like the first thing one does is, oh, something is wrong. Oh, this day or this yesterday. Everything was. I mean, I'm including myself in that, and I'm aware of it, and thank God for the tools of access consciousness and the
Yeah,
tools of right voice for you. We can navigate life with ease and joy and glory. It's not going into the drama anymore, but it's
right.
also recognizing that yes, it's a constant yeah, it's this awareness. It's basically an awareness. And if you know the tools of right voice for you, which is all about energetics, actually, when we talk when you really get into it, it's pragmatic as well as energetic. We can change, not others, and not only others, but actually especially us. We start with ourselves.
Right, right. I would love for
Inspire by.
you because now you're speaking my language, because energy is a universal language, y'all. What I love about Access, we're in 179 countries, and you'll have a potpourri of people like at a CF,
Love
um,
potpourri.
potpourri. Oh gosh, a mixture.
Well, I love it. I said I love potpourri.
Oh,
Actually,
you love potpourri. So
I
here
I,
we are.
I love it.
Everybody around the world has descended upon, or taking it online, as you did, as you chose, to Puerto Vallarta, and there's no judgment about where you came from or your history or your past or anything. We're all here for this co-creation, you know. We're all driven here. And what I love about it is when you're finally at that space of knowing that um, of not being judgmental of how someone looks or where they're from or whatever you were trained to believe growing up, where we're inundated by this reality on how we're supposed to show up, how we're supposed to speak, how we're supposed to be seen in the world, all these things. What can actually show up when we're willing to actually truly be us? I mean, I always joke that Right Voice for You is a being you class on steroids.
True.
It's like
And
we talk
beyond.
about being you and all the tools, and then Right Voice makes you step into it. It's like that next step. It's that little. So, give us an example of energetics, though, because you were talking about that piece, and I don't know. People are like, what do you mean, Junaline? What do you mean by it's energy? What do you mean by energetics? I don't get it.
Well, energetics is actually energy. I mean, people always define energy as, oh my God, I have to feel it to know it's energy. And I said, yeah, you know how some people are just like, what is energy? Is that something that you do as a job? Like, is it in the petrol industry or what? Or what is it like? It's like if you walk in, I always give this example. You walk into a room, you're feeling great. And suddenly you start feeling like ick, yuck, and you have a pain in your whatever, headache or something. So, how much of that you are perceiving the energy, the vibe, I would say the vibe of the room or the people in there, like you have no idea if you don't know. If you don't understand why, don't understand because you just know that there's something there, and that is energy. You are an energetic being. You can sense the vibe. So when I say energy, it's like being able to sense a vibe, a vibration. And you have to speak to the language of this reality. If you're like, okay, like, oh, she's got good energy, she's got good vibes. So
Mhm.
that's what energy is. There is
So you're
no
you're
word
telling
to
me that
define.
you're aware.
Yep.
You're aware of this energy. And you're reading the room. And it's kind of like public speakers or performers.
True.
The ones that are really good are the ones that can read the room. They have the people that are like, prove it to me. And if you
Hmm.
guys aren't on YouTube, you don't know what I'm doing. I'm folding my arms. And you should really come and go to YouTube and just see how cute we are, okay? So they're like, fold them. They're like, prove it to me, Rudrani. Show me. I need to see what's going on. Then you got the people go, oh, I want more. And they're like wide open, and it's being able to be present with all these different energies.
And different, yeah, so there are energies, different energies of people, different positions that people take, different stances that people take when you're around them, right? There's people with, okay, they're like, oh, I don't know what she's talking about, you can sense that. Or
She thinks I'm
hmm,
crazy. Yeah.
you could sense already.
Mhm.
Actually, being energetic is being able to sense even without the words. You already know, like you always have to trust your knowing with
Mhm.
an energy, not having to validate, did I really feel that? Am I going
Yeah.
crazy? I just sense that she doesn't like
I'm
me.
not psychic. I'm so stupid to believe that this could actually be. And then the hindsight is, oh my God, if I just followed my knowing, that's
Well, that's it.
exactly what I thought I had. Yeah,
That's it. What would it take for us to really trust our knowing?
right.
Trust our knowing, follow our knowing, what we're calling in this reality as your gut instinct. Yeah, that is the knowing. That is the awareness that we all have
Hmm.
as energy. You call it energetic beings or as
Right,
beings, really.
right.
Yeah, not trying to think from here because we know what we know. It's faster than what we think, right?
Yeah, what is faster, you guys? Thinking or knowing?
Wait a minute, I have to calculate and compute. Okay. I need a calculator for this thinking,
Oh my
Roger.
goodness. Yeah, computing. That's why they call them computers, people. But what if you just knew? Uh-huh. So I've got to know, give us an example of a class where you facilitated someone in right voice for you and you saw them, you know, get it or finally step into them. Because you guys, being a facilitator and watching somebody when they allow themselves to be all of them, and an angel just got its wings.
Yeah.
And my watch is talking to me now. It's so magical. And it's like Gary Douglas says, if you can help one person, you've done your job. That's
Yeah.
what I love so much about right voices. I watch people peeling off this persona or this facade, or they take this mask off and they're finally actually willing to be themselves. And for me, it's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Give us an example of something like that in one of your classes where
Oh
you
my
just,
God. I have
I know
so
I'm asking you to do one, but two if
well,
you want.
okay. So one thing that comes right now is this I gave a 1 day right voice for you class in Damascus, Syria.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is just actually next to Lebanon. I just had to drive there for 2 hours. Um, there was a participant there who is actually a tenor and he
Oh,
sings Gregorian chants. He's Christian living in Syria.
okay.
Syria is also Christian and Muslim country.
Right.
So, and they have a lot of beautiful monasteries and churches in Syria. And so he told me that he wanted to improve his voice. And so we were working on his voice on in the class, and he would sing. It was really great. And so I kept asking him, okay, what? So it was already good, but he wanted, but I perceived that something else could be expanded. There was
Hmm.
something that's still limiting his physical voice when he was singing. And I asked him to connect to the earth, connect to the earth and pull all the generative energy of the earth and ask the earth to contribute to your body. And when I asked him that, and we did a practice session again and again, when he would sing a piece of a Gregorian chant. He had a
Right.
beautiful voice.
God, I can't imagine how beautiful. I mean, just leaning into the energy of the story. I love a Gregorian. I love a good Gregorian chant, y'all. I've just got to say, because
Oh,
there's something about the vibration of it that my whole body just
and
gets
Syria,
immersed, you
and the
know?
contribution of the land of Syria to me also, like I gave a 3 day body class there, and at the same time they asked me to give them a right voice for you, a 1 day class. And so uh in Arabic and in English, which and she he this man he sang in Arabic, the chant in Arabic. And when I asked him to pull energy from the earth through his body, through
Mhm.
up, like it's, well, we call it in access consciousness sexual energy, which is not about sex. It's just actually just really the receiving energy
Right.
of, yeah, the beautiful receiving energy that we are, um we have as gifts. And that changed his posture, changed his, actually the voice opened up, and
Mm.
even his body opened up. And actually I failed to videotape this, but he gave a testimonial in Arabic about this. And then so that changed him. And then the next day, the same group of people from the Right Voice for You class wanted to take me sightseeing to a uh, very famous monastery
Oh, wow.
in Damascus, outside Damascus, Syria, which yeah, well, like from, I don't know, the times of the Byzantine, whatever. It's
Hmm.
very old. It's very beautiful. And we were walking around, and he started singing in the back of the church, just
Oh,
by himself, and we're like, And there's four of us, there's four students that came sightseeing with me, and he owned it.
Mm.
It was as if was called by God to just sing that, and his voice changed, and we all were like, wow.
Wow.
He just like he was in, the day, it was the day after the class, and
That's
we
amazing.
asked him to sing it in the church, in the monastery, and nobody was there, but except the four of us tourists, students and whatever. And he belted this wonderful tune that was so angelic.
Mm.
I wish I had videotaped it.
Well, I got to tell you, energy is energy, and leaning into the story, I can perceive it. And it's so funny because you're bringing me back to Venice, because there's a beautiful church. I don't know if you, when you were in Venice, if you actually did any of the sightseeing, but my mother and I were there, and I kind of did the same thing where there's a song that Leonard Cohen wrote that many people have covered called Hallelujah.
Yes, I
Are you
love that
familiar
song.
with it?
He's Canadian, by the way.
Oh, is he? What do you
Yes.
know? He's one of your people. So
Yes.
anyway,
People.
so I remember it was after hours, someone let us in, and my mother and I were there, and I just started singing, Hallelujah, because it's so beautiful.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Love that song.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the reverberation from the notes
Yeah.
was so beautiful. I mean, I can see why people are moved when they're in churches to sing,
Yeah.
because it's just amazing. So can you acknowledge that you facilitated this beautiful man into being more of who he is with the communion of earth?
Yes. And everybody who took that class to this day thank me. Everybody who's taken actually a right voice for you. I've seen
Mhm,
how much they've literally showed up on social media more, or
mhm.
they would message me and saying, like, I'm doing this now, I'm doing this now. Actually, and it's just, these are one day right voice for you classes where I love it because it's very practical. We do exercises. We don't just sit down and
Right.
write down notes and things like that. It's not even a rule of, like a Toastmasters, how to speak, how to have a good posture, but it's an invitation to be really, really you. But we do have all these exercises and energetic exercises that
Mhm.
create so much change in one day. And that's what I love about Right Voice for You, and that's what I love facilitating it. It facilitates me as well.
Right. Oh, and I love that you said that, because this is what I know about me. I teach what I most want to learn.
Me too.
And I always get something out of the classes, and each class is its own creation, its own entity. Even
Yeah.
the two classes, because you have to take two and then take the advanced
Mhm.
to be able to be a facilitator.
Yeah.
And so I remember the first one I took was a double whammy. I had Dr. Andrew Gardella and Christopher Hughes, who is now
That's
over
great.
the entire franchise, if you want to
Mhm.
call it that. And they had a very different way of facilitating. And then I went to Boulder, Colorado, and Heather Nichols was hosting Silvia Puentes. And she had it out of her home. It was a completely different thing, because when I was taken from the other two, it was at the hotel and it was a stage and all this. And then this was a more intimate way of being facilitated. And I loved the idea of, you take it from two different facilities. So any of you guys out there in the world that are maybe CFs that are considering it, um, there's such a gift in taking from, because different facilitators, I'm never going to be able to facilitate like Christopher or Andrew or Sylvia or Junaline. And
You are
and
with
I,
Johnny.
yeah,
You are with Johnny Devi,
I mean, yeah, you're going to get what you see.
the
I'm
one
saying.
and only.
That's right. And what I love is how each class creates itself on its own. I learned, or I received so much, let me put it that way, from those classes individually,
Hmm.
from the people that I did. What was something you remember when you first took? I mean, we were talking earlier that you took from someone not even knowing that you were going to become a CF.
That's right.
What was it that made you go, oh, huh, maybe this needs to be one of my specialties? Was there something where you were facilitated? Can you think of a moment, or
Yeah, well, because it was one of my favorites classes when I became a CF, and I was always taking classes from, the former leader of that, for the former
Mhm.
head of that course. And I actually, at one point, I was Right Voice for You. They called it Breakthrough Intro Facilitator. It was a different system back in the day, in 2016 or 2017, something like that. Okay, so actually, I was a Right Voice for You. It was only an intro breakthrough facilitator, which I could only facilitate for 4 hours, basically
Right,
a
right.
class of what
It's
we
like a
call.
taster, y'all. Y'all get a little tasty
Yeah,
taste.
yeah, and I did, and I went for that, and I actually I taught my first Right Voice for You intro breakthrough intro workshop in Beirut, Lebanon, and I had 17 people show up
My
there.
goodness.
I
You're a
know.
rock
It was
star.
amazing. To this day, one or two of those women that attended that class still cannot believe how much change she is getting. And she's trying to host me. And like like to this day, she cannot forget what I made her do on the stage. And
Oh,
that changed her. I made her sing and she doesn't sing. I made
okay, okay. I was going inquiring minds. What did you make her do, Junaline?
No, it was like, so in Right Voice for You we actually use, I don't know about you, but some, it depends on, of course it depends every class, but I had used a stage, a makeshift stage, so
Right.
that it's symbolic of showing up. So I would call people asking to for change to be facilitated, and she was one of them, and I put her on the stage, and I asked her, I actually changed the energy of her singing. It's not about the singing, actually she wanted more to show up of herself, to be
Right.
confident to speak in public. So
Gotcha.
but I made her sing happy birthday
Happy birthday to you.
the way that she wanted to sing,
Right. Okay.
and even the worst way that she wants to sing. So it's like, yeah, like, I mean, what's right, what's wrong, who cares, right? And that was actually one of the things that we invite people to, is like, there's no right or wrong way. That's it. It's being you, and what would it take for you not to judge your choices for
Mhm.
whatever it is that you choose. So that was, she's never forgotten that experience. To this day she talks about it,
Wow.
and she's been wanting to host me in Dubai. Now she's in Dubai. She's Lebanese now, living in Dubai, and we're like,
Well,
okay,
get
so
your ass over there, girl. What's your problem? You are
yeah,
squandering this.
and it's like she talks about it all the time, like, oh my god, that Junaline just she did this, and da da da. So what
You have
else?
to actualize. It's time to actualize. No more
Hi,
flapping your
Pinky.
lips.
Pinky, can you contribute to this actualization?
I can. I promise. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So and then actually I stopped after that. When this lady left, I also stopped doing the Right Voice for You. Interesting point of view, interesting choice. I stopped it, of course,
Ah,
because I was very inspired by her. And when she left, I also left the Right Voice for You training. They had a different system then. And then about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I started during the lockdown. It started calling me again, and so and I was rediscovered a different energy of Right Voice for You,
mhm.
with Chris Hughes facilitating it. And so when I
Got
attended it online with him, I said, wow, this is a different energy. I'm going to choose to become a Right Voice for You this time. So that's why I did it again.
I
This
see.
my yeah.
Whoops. I did it again. I'm sorry. Everything's a song for me, as you guys know. I'm
I
always
me too.
singing.
But yeah, my voice is not as great as Rudrani's, but everything's a song
Oh,
as
pish
well.
posh. This is the thing, it's like people go, "Oh, I don't have a good voice," right? And I'm like, or they
Yeah,
say I'm tone deaf or whatever it is. That's actually a lie,
it
you
is,
guys.
isn't it?
It's a lie. We have it in the manual. I don't know if they pulled it out or not, but I remember this whole thing about being tone deaf. It's not possible to be tone deaf. I mean,
It's a
you hear
judgment.
tones. You hear tones. I mean, every instrument, every vibration has a tone, and it's not that you are tone deaf. Because if you were, then you wouldn't hear anything. You just be deaf. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
When you
yeah,
tone deaf, you would be like, I can't hear anything. But anyway,
yes,
I digress. If you want to know
it is.
more about it, take the class, okay? I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
it's an interesting judgment, isn't it? Tone deaf.
Hmm. It's funny that some words just don't. Everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, y'all. It's so funny. Okay, so if somebody was going to come to you and say, "Okay, Junaline, if I take this Right Voice for You class, what can I expect?" Because they're going to come in with expectations about what you
Well,
could do.
Why I would ask them, what would you like to get out of a right voice for you class?
Hmm.
Actually,
Hmm.
not what you would expect. What would you like to get out of this
Yeah,
class? Because it's what you would like to get out of it. That's what you're going to receive.
true story.
Yeah,
True story. We can't tell you anything,
that's right.
people. The bottom line is if you are now I'm trying to tell you something. The bottom line
Don't
is
tell me anything.
if you're called, if this class is calling you, do you even have to know why?
Yeah. I
I
did
mean,
not
it's
know why. I just chose it. You see?
right.
Yeah. Just like
Yeah.
being a CF, I just chose it. I did not know why. Even taking my first bars class in Paris, I live in Lebanon. I did not know why. I just
You're like,
chose it.
I gotta be there. It's
Yeah.
just well, it's funny because the person that you first took the classes from, what drew her to me was I don't know. I think she I'm going to say randomly, although that I don't see how that's possible with
There's nothing random.
algorithms and all the things. But she found where I had spoken in front of. I was a keynote speaker at an event with Indian women. This kind of Indian, the dot, not woo woo woo. So woo woo woo. That's so funny because Indians do not go woo woo woo. Woo, I don't know. Okay, so not the feather kind,
I
the little.
understand what Indian. What do you mean by Indians? I know. Okay.
Okay, so I was asked to be here. I have this Indian name. I'm this, Italian living in America with an Indian name, and I was asked to be their keynote speaker. They had one of the people had of this group had found my first book called Soul Survivor about being in India and events took place, all the things, and they wanted me to be the keynote speaker. So I went up there and I basically, with the tools of access, I even did an expanding out meditation, right? And it was my speech was called Empowering Women to Be All That They Be, where they got to make choices. Because in India, I don't know if all you all know this, but there are arranged marriages. It's all based a lot on astrology, and that's how you get matched up with your perfect mate and all the things. There's not a lot of choice there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, actually, there's a choice to choose that. But these women were first generation in America. Maybe their parents, had moved to America or they came for school or whatever it was. And it was them wanting to step out of what was expected and actually choose for themselves. So in a way, it was kind of like a right voice for you sort of class as well. But at least that's how this person saw it. So she randomly finds it on YouTube from years before and here's me talking about the tools of access. This is way before I became a CF and me doing this expanded out meditation. And she was like, you might want to consider it. And then she sent me the video. The one I'm talking about. And I'm going to have it underneath in the notes for y'all. So you can also know what I'm talking
Something
about.
even greater than you were yesterday.
That's actually the one where Gary is
Ah,
facilitating this young girl.
okay, got it. Yes, that's beautiful.
Although we could put that other one in there too. Give me the link and I'll make sure to get it also. Because I want you to talk about that since it came to your awareness. I'm sure it's something my listeners would love to know about. But basically, it's over a couple of days. They just show snippets where Gary asks somebody if they would volunteer. And this young girl, I mean, talk about having big cojones, y'all. Like I'm talking about balls. She's this young girl. You got to have big balls to step up in front of, and this is a big class, in front of all these adults. And she's out there singing a song, and she's very timid. And Gary has her sing, and then he stops her, and he does a little energy. And then he has her sing a little bit more, and he stops her, and he does a little energy. We were talking about that energy stuff. And after like 3 times, he goes, okay, that's it. I want you to rest your voice, meaning don't practice. We're going to let this, transpire and take care of you, or whatever the energy is going to do. And we'll see you tomorrow. And so then you go to the next day and she comes back and she sings the song. And it's like, what just happened? Because it was just so different. She had so much confidence and her voice actually sounded better, because I had so much judgment. I'm listening to it and I go, Gary, you ain't going to be able to fix that. That's a mess. That awful. I mean, my points of view. We're like, okay, this girl cannot sing. Not that she's tone deaf. She's off key, which is what people think they mean when they're saying tone deaf. But She wasn't by the second day, y'all. I'm not saying she had the strongest voice or, the most appealing to every listener or whatever, but that's not what right voice is about either.
Yeah.
That's what sold me. I'm like, dang, shebang bang. I want to be that for someone else where I can show them that they can step into all of who they be, in their voice. So that was my big motivator. And tell me about this other video that you thought I was talking about.
The one that actually, well, I can say her name, Blossom Benedict did. It was called Greater Than Yesterday.
Ah,
I don't know if you've seen it, but back
no,
in
I
the
have
day,
not.
you haven't. Okay. It's a produced video
Okay.
promotion for the class. It's
Okay.
beautiful. Yeah.
If you would share the link with me, I'm going to make sure it's in the show
I'm gonna
notes
have
for
to find
people.
it.
Okay. Well,
I will. I will. I will.
guys, the pressure's on. If it's not there, it's Junaline's fault, not mine. Okay?
But I will. I will
No
find it.
judgment or shame there
Not at
whatsoever.
all. Not at
Yeah.
all.
Look how she receives it. She's just laughing at me like, girl, bitch, you ain't hurt my feelings. And that's also your right voice when you're willing to be all of you, no matter what anybody says or impales upon you. You're willing to show up as all of you, no matter what.
True story. Yes, and it's taken me some time to work on that, but now it's with all the tools of access consciousness and tools of right voice for you.
Mhm.
Wow, what a great invitation to just really being you is actually non-judgment of you, or not even reacting or resisting, or like aligning and agreeing to, I don't know what, people's points of views or
Right.
your
I
own
have
point of
to be
view
this
about
way, so I'm going
you.
to align with this team because they're the popular team, and I do all the things they do, and
Well, actually, I mean, it starts with you, right? It starts with
Mhm.
you, this interesting point of view, which is a tool that we cannot overlook. It's like being interesting point of view. A lot of
Right, right,
people
right.
do the interesting point of view, which sounds sarcastic when people do that. Oh, interesting
Hey,
point of view, Johnny.
you just
You-
lost everybody, Junaline. I'm just gonna say. Okay, it's one of my favorite tools, you guys. Interesting point of view, I have that point of view. Interesting that point of view, they have that point of view about me. Interesting
Yeah,
point of view, I have that point of view that I have to align and agree or resist and react. And when you come from a space of interesting point of view where you actually be it instead of doing it, because you can't really do interesting point of view,
yeah,
but when you can actually be interesting point of view, then it's interesting how free you are because you're not the effect of anything anymore.
exactly. And it's a muscle. It's a muscle to train, boys and girls. It's not something that happens overnight. At least not for me. It took me
Right, right.
3 years to become it, rather
Yes,
than
no, yes.
just
So don't
doing it.
judge yourself. What I hear you saying is, you know what? Do interesting point of view until you can be it without a point of view about when you have to be it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yes. However you want to receive it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So I have to say this, lady, because you're not going to get off easy. This is called the Choosing Happiness podcast.
I love it. I love the title
And
of the
so I have to ask you this. How do you choose your happiness? How do you get your happy on? Is there like one thing that you do for yourself that you can share with my listeners, or maybe something you want to share with them about how they could find their happier? I don't know. You choose.
Yeah, how do I choose my happy? My happy every day is a different day. It's a new day every day. So I
Mm.
don't, yeah. So one of the things that I do is actually I destroy and uncreate who I was 10 seconds ago. What's another
Ah,
tool? Yeah.
another tool, y'all.
Another tool, destroying and uncreating yourself is energetic. That's destroying and creating yourself 10 seconds ago, 10 hours, 10, I don't know, 10 days, 10 lifetimes ago, and destroy and uncreate myself 10 seconds from now. So whenever I do that, actually, it brings me to the present. Whatever happened last night, I forgot about it already. Who cares? What you said to me, I don't want to hold a grudge about it. It was like, it's not worth my energy.
Right?
And my
Just
time is valuable, girl. I want to be profitable. So I just destroy. This is one of my things, go to things to choosing my happy is really like, okay, what would actually, well, it's a very simple question. What would make me happy today?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to get up slowly, or I'm going to get up and choose to go to this. It's actually it's just a choice. People think that we should do this, we have to do this. But
Right.
it's also, even going to work. People say I have to go to work. What if we change that energy? I choose to go to work today because I'm
Right.
going to
Right.
create something. It's
Hey,
something.
I get to go to work.
Yes,
Yay!
more. I'm alive. I get to go to work and create money,
Yeah,
pay
yeah,
bills. That means I am abundant. You know what I mean?
that's
It's like
right. I know.
yeah, it's like
You
really
just said taboo, girl. People are like, that woman crazy. She
wow,
crazy,
more money for me.
right? Yeah.
More money.
We have this thing in Access, y'all. Please judge us, because the more you judge us and the more we, can receive your judgment without a point of view, the more money we gonna make.
Say what?
Your girlfriend. Just saying.
Around
I
the
love,
world, snap.
I love this sleeve. If you guys are on, I'm such a girl. I mean, when I
Oh,
do the
lady,
snap, the sleeve is like half the action. It's so great. I
it's
love
your
it.
happiness sleeve.
That's right. And I got two of them. Twin powers reunite. Anyway, that's a whole nother podcast,
We
y'all.
should have a happiness posse, Rodrani.
I know.
Hap-
Girl, you just gave me an idea.
Using happiness posse. It's
Mhm.
membership.
I like it. Oh my goddess. You'll be the first one to sign up, I bet.
Of course.
I will make sure. Yeah.
I get the commission.
All right, Alyssa, I know you're listening in the background. She's producing, in the background, but we're putting together Choosing Happiness Posse memberships. So
Yep.
fucking right. Yeah, that's happening. That's happening, y'all. So, don't choose it. Don't choose it. You might be so
Yeah.
happy you won't even know what to do
Yeah,
with
you
your
might
sleep.
be too happy, you might get sick and die. So actually,
Right. What?
yeah, happiness will
What?
kill you. Oh my God.
Yeah, so happy she just killed over and died. That'd be the kind of happy I'd like. Anyway, because I can always choose another body, y'all. All right, so tell the listeners where they can find you, please.
Oh well, currently I'm in Canada.
What?
I'm just kidding. Okay, so they can find me. I have a website called. It's actually very easy to remember. www.junaline.com.
Oh, very nice.
Like yeah, like a one name moniker, like Beyonce and Madonna. Just I
Of
just want
course,
to.
Cher, like Cher, who was the first one to do that.
Sorry, I wasn't born during Cher.
Four
Yeah.
letters, y'all. She was the.
So yeah, they can find me there. I can also be found on Instagram at Life Inspired Junaline, and also on Facebook, Life Inspired with Junaline. Again, for my business page, and also you can friend me as on Facebook, Junaline Bañez-Moussi. I'm very friendly, and I am, and also I'm on LinkedIn, Junaline Bañez-Moussi as well, and I will share all of those information with.
Yeah, I'll
You.
make sure the links is below, y'all. You ain't gonna be left in the cold. But that mean you're gonna have to go to the YouTube to find them. No, you can find them in Apple and all the other places as well. But if you want to see this delightful explosion of happiness, you're gonna have to come to the YouTube. So that's all I gotta
Oh
say.
yes, YouTube party, y'all. It's the Choosing
Yeah,
Happiness Posse YouTube party, y'all.
that's right. Word. Just saying. All right. So thank you so
We're
much for being my guest, girl. You way too much fun. You'll have to be a guest again sometime. We got to be a repeat offender.
I would love to.
Okay. That would be awesome. And Pinky appreciates it too. My little
Hi,
mascot.
thank you, Pinky. Merci beaucoup. Muchas gracias. Grazie.
Such a contribution, Pink. All
Yeah.
right, y'all. So thank you so much for listening. And, if you liked this conversation, please hit the subscribe button below. And perhaps you know someone that could benefit from this conversation. It could be a contribution to. Share it with them. And I actually read all the comments. So if you've got words for me, share them, please. And
May I share something?
yeah,
I would love to invite people to a Right Voice for You introduction class that I'm doing online on Thursday. I don't know if this is going to be on Thursday, September 28th.
yep,
As
this
well
is
as,
going to premiere the 28th. So, yeah. I'm
yeah,
going to
so
let you have it a little early, though, so you can help promote your class that
thank
way.
you so much. And I
Well,
have an upcoming Right Voice for You class in Mexico City next week. 3-day
awesome.
Right Voice for You in English, in Espanol, October 6th to 7 and 8.
I
So
love
how
it.
does it get any better than that? You
Perfect.
are all welcome.
Make sure you give me the links so we
Yes.
can share. All right, baby. Well,
Thank you, Rudrani. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful for you. And what would it take to spread more consciousness and more of our voices and invite people to being their voice in the world?
wow. Mic drop, y'all. Normally, you know that I have my microphone with me, but I did not bring it on the script. So Thank you so much for choosing happiness. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, share, and give us a like. And if you want more happy, subscribe to the Choosing Happiness membership where you can play directly with me, Rudrani Devi, the Happiness Lady. How does it get any better than that?